I feel kind of bad because I don't know why, but I feel kind of bad. I looked at this story on Instagram from my sister, and this is my sister who lives in Germany, and I forget what it was, but the message was saying something like, for your silence, or for your complicity, basically in the context of Gaza now, that you will live with your complicity for your silence. And something along those lines was part of this Instagram story. And I don't feel good right now for that basic reason. Where I am, and if I put it into context of where I thought I was a year ago, and the year before that, and the couple of years before that, and where I imagine I'm gonna be next year, and the years after that, and even further, I think about the responsibility I have at home for my mom and my dogs and my sister and my dad. And while I'm in a position of being able to be intentional like that, and basically not having things to rely on for for a continued sense, for a continuing like, for example, and I want to give an example. Like, for example, there's a rule that the dogs go to bed and they sleep in 2 separate crates in the basement. That's one rule regarding the dogs. I'm finding it hard to talk about what I want to talk about, and that's okay. I'm finding it hard to talk about what I want to talk about, and that's okay. I'm very tired of being careful with the words that I want to use, and trying to form those into maximally clear ideas. I'm really tired of trying to do that. I'm really tired of being on guard. In this example about the dogs, it doesn't matter on any night what the dogs feel like, as long as they're doing what they're supposed to. And the strategy in the house of making that fair is by only requiring them to do as little as possible to fit in the basic schedule of the house. So that's requiring them to go to bed and whatever it takes to get them in bed without causing, like, they have to go to bed at a certain time. Well, not at a certain time, but they have to go to bed in a certain place, and when they're in bed, they can't decide to leave bed. So when they do go to bed, they don't have the decision to leave bed. And for some reason, if they're not happy about being in bed, we're not responsible for any kind of it's not supposed to be our job to ask the question, well, why don't they want to go to bed? I don't know, it bothers me. There are things about, um, there are lots of things about what is accepted about what is normal parenting. And it doesn't have to, it's not parenting. There are lots of things that bother me about the way that people treat each other. I was going to say how society works, but that makes you think of something of economic systems, and that's not necessarily something that I'd ever think about. I think about how people treat each other. There was this movie on TV last night, and it had Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin and Steve Martin. And they were all playing single adults who were, I guess, over 60 or something, but they were looking for love. And the movie, it was on TV, and it just looked really upsetting to watch. And not and like a waste of time. The same way that farmer wants a wife. Seems like a waste of time. Seems like bad television. Like, it just shouldn't be on. I think monogamy as a norm has this weird effect on people that they shut their brains off. I think that's one of the easy ways to see people shut their brain off. Is in their defending monogamy. Not for themselves specifically, but just as some kind of social norm. I've been monogamous. I like monogamy. But, of course, the fact that I would call it prevalent as I don't know what I would call it. I would call it I'd call it prevalent as people's idea of default life structure, you know. But there's other things like that that equally make me upset or whatever. This is a bad stream video. This is a bad video. I can't show my dick on video. But if YouTube allowed that, talking about circumcision, because circumcision, people tend to do it with their brains turned off. I'm really tired of, in my own personal sitch, whatever. I'm upset personally that, like, I'm upset at I'm upset at myself for not sharing much of what I think with, for example, my mom. My mom, who I live with and I see every day. I think it's wrong to not share these with her. And at the same time, and even before that, it's like, well, okay, I've got to like, these things are not going to be things that she's interested in talking about. So this is kind of lame to be posting online, being like, oh, I hope somebody sees this. Which I don't really hope that somebody sees this, but of course I'm, talking to the phone. I'm talking to the phone. And sad. I feel like my mom would be less confused about my relationships. But also that's kind of putting the cart before the horse, because I don't have any relationships. And when I do, I'm not going to have the ability, I'm not going to be able to approach them the same way that I did when I was 12. Same way that it happened when I was 12. Or 20 or 21. So that's just a part of me that's growing and still growing. I feel sad that I can tell that my mom is torn up about a relationship that for me ended about 4 years ago. And I can see that implicit there is the relationship. That relationship, it lasted for almost 10 years. Okay, so it started from a young age, right? It started from 12 and went through age 22. So I know that even, now my mom doesn't talk about it, but obviously I am aware that this relationship that lasted for so long would really make her comfortable. And it would so make her comfortable that she's afraid to talk about it because for her it's just if it's not going to happen, then it's not going to happen, but she would rather just wait and adjust to whatever new reality comes up. But of course, I mean, so what am I saying? I'm saying that she would like me to get back in this relationship because it would make her more comfortable. And of course, that's not what I'm doing. It's not what I've been doing. Last year, we went on vacation somewhere, and this is not about a relationship, but it's about a career. And I think, well, the work that I've been doing that I call my work has been going well. And we meet Loretta at the Limestone. And my mom and Loretta says, well, how is the piano going? Because the piano is what I call my work, basically. For all intents and purposes. And my mom goes, oh, well, we haven't talked about it, me and him, but, and I go, we haven't talked about it. What are you talking? She asks you how it's going. You're not going to say, are we not on the same page? I don't know. And she goes, well, we haven't talked about it since a year ago, which to her means one thing, but to me or anyone else means different things. So when she says, oh, we haven't talked about it, I guess it means I have maximal freedom to explore it without any influence that would be undue from her. But to another person, it could sound like something else. I don't know. So Loretta says, "How's it going?" My mom says, "Oh, well, what? We don't know." She says, "Oh, we haven't talked about it." And so, so the three of us start talking, and Loretta says, "Oh, how is this going?" Or, what, like, how, we just basically start a question and answer. Like, well, what do you think? Like, you know, what's the idea if this happens? Or, what's your plan for, what do you want to do? And put it in real terms. What do you want to do? Right? I say, well, I want to do this. Okay, well, sounds good, I guess. But my mom says, well, what have you done lately? Well, she says, what have you done lately? Like, what progress? Like, it, it. I don't know. Loretta says, well, have you been working on it? And I go, yeah, it's really going good. We're always like, it's still going really well. My mom says, well, like, but really, like, what have you done in the last 3 months? I'm basically saying I haven't seen anything happen in the last 3 months. And then I'm thinking, you're going to insinuate in front of our friend that you've seen no progress in an amount of time that would be concerning to you. And you didn't. And this is the first I'm hearing about it. And so I answered back and I said, oh, well, in the last 3 months, this happened. And it's this. I said circle inversion. And it applies to engineering in this kind of a way. Because that was the most recent important information that had come up. And they just kind of went, okay, whatever. And then we didn't even talk about circle inversion. It was just like, she expected me to not have an answer. And so she asked that question in front of another person, expecting me not to have an answer. Preparation as possible, or as little notice as possible for a difficult question, which is a smart thing to do if you don't trust anyone enough to speak to them, except in a circumstance where if you put them in a corner, they can, so because unnecessary. I also think about on the same trip, but a year before, trip to the same place, I had been broken up with this very old relationship for maybe only about a year. No, I think 2 years. 2 years at that point. And we were sitting at a table eating something with nothing really to say. I guess, I don't know what we were talking about. And she said, I'd like to bring... And then she mentioned the name of whoever I used to date. Who I dated for 10 years before that. And she said, oh, my whole thing is I'm going to get you two back together. And I didn't want that. This is fucking stupid. This is a stupid video to be talking. But I don't have anyone to talk about it with. Because, and I don't care. I'll say whatever the fuck I want to say. I should say everything that I want to say. And you should too. But anyway, whatever. Stupid shit-talking story time. Fucking stupid. Ungrateful, motherless, bratty work of shit son. She's like, you need to get back with this girl. I'm like, no. She's like, oh, well, well, we don't have to talk about it right now. You don't have to tell me, you can tell me later. And of course, she doesn't, she still thinks about it and doesn't talk about it. And does that give me, like, does that make me better adjusted for ignoring it? Is ignoring it such a feat of strength for me to do that it, like, makes the whole thing justified? Right? I mean, is it better to do this, or is it better to have a conversation and say, hey, I'm really sad about you're not dating girl A. Why aren't you dating girl A when I think you should be? But of course, I'm complicit in the same thing that she's complicit in, because I'm not talking about it either. I'm not talking about what I want to talk about. I'm doing the same little tiny dance. Jigsaw dance. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just doing the same kind of little ditty where I let her do the wrong thing, and she's making chicken and she's putting it in for the wrong time at the wrong temperature, and it comes out dry, or it doesn't, or you have to keep putting it in over and over. And instead of saying, look, bitch, no. Instead of saying, just shut the fuck up, and listen to me. I don't know, instead of saying just listen and shut the fuck up. I don't know. I'm kind of tired of this. I'm kind of tired of brushing my hair. Kind of really tired of brushing my hair. Anyway, okay, so what was I saying? I was talking about my mom brushing my hair, cooking chicken, watching someone else do something wrong so that you can just wait around and then wait for it to blow up and then say, I told you so, is, I don't know what that is. But I need to stop doing it. And I need to stop doing it when I see other people do it. So also that means if a terrible movie or a terrible show is on TV and you shouldn't be watching it, there's no reason for you not to say, this is a terrible show, you shouldn't be watching it. Okay, this is the takeaway. If there's some terrible news on TV, then you just have to call it out. And if you can't do it now, you're never gonna. And I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. I keep having this recurring daydream where we're on vacation with my youngest sister and her husband or whatever, and we find out they're going to have a baby and it's going to be a boy. And then finally, I can just say circumcision is wrong. It's always wrong. It shouldn't happen. It's because it's wrong. I'm not going to fight anyone about it. I'm just going to tell you it's wrong. Don't do it. And I don't want to have the arguments at hand. I don't want to discuss it with anyone. I just want to say it's wrong. And it's always wrong. And don't do it. Not because I really want that whole situation like that to play out, but just because I want to tell everyone it's wrong. I want to say, or not, I don't want to tell everyone, but I want to say it whenever I feel like it. And if I feel like it for no reason, I don't care. I'm going to say it again. I'm just going to say it whenever I want. And that's my defense against weird conclusions being drawn without me, about me, against me. I'm just going to say whatever shit I'm thinking.